I bent the rules and gave you a $50 discount and you're still not happy? Enjoy the $15 one instead that you were initially meant to get. Posted by Dumb Stupid Idiot. I used to work at a call center for a large Canadian telecommunications company. They're a service provider for TV, internet, home phones, and cell phones. I was a customer care agent, and at the time, I was working in the end of the promotions department. I'd be the person you speak with when your 1 or 2 year discount was set to expire. I had been through many different departments before I was moved to the end of promotion team, so I had access to multiple discounts a regular care agent wouldn't have access to because they never changed my authorization when I moved to the new department. This allowed me to bend the rules quite a bit when it came to renewing promotions for some customers. Now, most care agents have limited discounts they can give. Typically, the system would generate a discount for a customer's account based on their tenure and services with us. That's what the company claimed, which I find to be bullcrap, as I've seen accounts that were created back in 1999 that would be tagged for only $10 off, and sometimes nothing at all, and they would have to pay in market rates. This is where my access level came in handy. If I spoke with a customer who was super polite and gave me no trouble or stress, I would apply a better discount than what was originally tagged, especially if I see they've been with us for years and sometimes even decades. So, for example, tagged for $20 off, give $35 or $40 off instead. Now, the company always claimed that they keep track if we apply discounts that a customer wouldn't be eligible for, but I think that was also bullcrap because I did this to many accounts and it never came up during meetings with my manager. So one day, I get a call, a customer that's been with the company for a year or two. Let's call him Mark. So Mark's promotion is coming to an end pretty soon, and he's looking to get a new one, and at the same time upgrade his services. He was on a mid-tier TV package and had 500 megabits per second unlimited internet. If I recall, he was probably paying around $140 a month. He wanted to move up to our highest TV package in our gigabit internet plan, which is the highest you can get for both TV and internet with this company. And this said company is not a budget service provider, so typically that combination of products will cost around $180 before taxes, and the price just climbs up depending on how many boxes you have for the TV, if you have a home phone, and if you have any extra TV add-ons. So I tell him I will gladly look into it and I place him on hold. Since he was very polite and I was in a good mood, I was happy to bend the rules for him, especially after seeing he was only tagged for a $15 discount. He had a $25 discount before, so he would have been paying $10 more if he wanted to keep his services the same, and definitely a whole lot more if he upgraded to the highest packages. So eventually I come back to him with a $50 discount for 1 year. He will still be paying more for making the change, but it's a whole lot better than the $15 off that he was supposed to get initially. Now, all of a sudden, his attitude and tone does a complete 180. He starts getting angry and starts getting rude. He was talking as if he thought I was joking when I said $50 is the most we could give him. He went on a rant about how he's been with us for so many years and how he deserves to pay less than what he was paying before, and on top of that, get upgraded services. I explained that, unfortunately, because he is upgrading to our highest packages, then the increase in price is inevitable. I informed him that if he wanted to, the same discount could be applied to his current services and he'd be saving $25 more than what he's been paying. Then he pulls the same card I hear so often. Well, my friend has that package and he's only paying $80. Or, I see newer customers getting it for so much less. Which, in most cases, sure, it can happen, but with the combination of products he has, I know 100% he was just pulling those prices right out of his butt. Now, he got angrier and was demanding that he gets a better discount, and on top of that, he wanted the Crave Movies and HBO add-on, which costs $19.99, for free, for a year, on top of that, for wasting his time. I start to get frustrated and explain once again that it's not something that we can do and that $50 is the best we can offer. He asked to speak to retention, which at the time was the end of the promotion department, and I explained that, well, he's already speaking with them. He starts to lose it and says he wants to speak to a manager because he wants to pay what he feels like he should pay based on his tenure, which again was only around 2 years, which may seem like a long time, but in this kind of industry, it doesn't mean much. We do have a dedicated team of managers that take calls when a customer is going crazy. Their primary goal is just to diffuse the situation, but they are not there to give better discounts if we already went through the best options, and they always made that very clear. I explained that a manager cannot provide a better discount, but I can still transfer him to one, as it is company policy to get them to a manager if they request one, no matter what. So I place him on hold, and what we do is speak to the manager on the line first to explain the situation and all the options that we as an agent went through before escalating, and then they take the call from there. Usually you're supposed to disconnect from the call once you patch the customer through, but sometimes I like to stick around and mute myself just to listen to the manager tell the customer the exact same thing I already told them. Their reactions are usually priceless. So I explained to the manager, we'll call him Fred, that I had already offered the customer a way better discount than what he had before. I was worried that they would question why or how I gave them more than what they was tagged for, but this manager didn't seem to care. I explained how now he wanted to pay less than what he used to pay while upgrading to our highest package, and now, on top of that, have a $20 add-on given to him for free for a year. Fred scoffs because they understood how ridiculous that was and told me to patch him through. I add Mark to the call, introduce him to Fred, and explain that they'll take the call from there. Now, all of a sudden, he's acting very polite again and says, "Oh, thank you so much, OP. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Take care." And continues this act while he talks to the manager as if he wasn't just screaming at the top of his lungs at me moments ago. I stick around to hear the conversation play out. Fred does a quick rundown of what Mark was asking us to do just to make sure nothing was missed, and Mark says, "Yep, that all sounds right to me." Then Fred pretty much tells him what he is asking for cannot be done, and that I had already offered the best discount we can provide, and explained that most customers pay way more for what he's being upgraded to. He starts getting angry again and starts yelling that he's being mistreated as a long-term customer and is threatening to cancel all of his services with us and move to a competitor. Fred says he's sorry he feels that way and that if he would like, they can start the cancellation procedure for him. Mark had had enough and hung up right after. I got a kick from hearing that and went on with my day. A month goes by. I'm taking calls and having a good day. It's slow, not a lot of callers, but the ones I do get have been very nice. And suddenly, a call comes in. The account pops up. I do a quick look over the account summary and see the customer's name. It looks familiar. I check the account's previous interactions and see mine and Fred's from a month ago. A big smile goes across my face as I am speaking to none other than Mark, calling us back again. Now, this kind of thing is very rare. With a company this big, we typically have a lot of callers and a lot of employees, so it's extremely uncommon that I speak to the same person more than once. I'm thinking because it was a slow day, they'd given early leave to the agents who wanted it, so there must not have been a lot of agents online taking calls, thus having this call routed to me since I was unavailable. I do the standard greeting, "Thank you for calling, how can I help?" But in the inside, I've got a crap-eating grin on my face because I know that he's most likely calling us back because his discount had expired and his price had gone up. He's either calling to cancel or to try and get a discount again. I was right on the nose with that one. He calls saying that his discount has expired and he's looking to get a new one. Now, Mark didn't seem to recognize that he was talking to me again. He thought I was just a different agent because he mentioned he was given an offer from someone about a month ago that he was looking to accept. Here's where the malicious compliance comes in. As per our last call, you said you wanted a discount based off your tenure? Sure thing. As a matter of fact, the system has already generated a whopping $15 based on that. I explained that unfortunately, because he's calling after his discount has ended, the original discount we had offered is now expired, and now we only have a $15 discount available. He starts to lose it again. Now, in some cases, this actually does happen, where if a discount isn't accepted before the other one expires, the new offer also expires and cannot be added. I can agree that it's some slimy crap that this company does so they can get more money. In this case, because the original $50 discount was never supposed to be given in the first place, I was able to say this and only offer what he was really tagged for. Once again, he begins to lose it. It plays out the same as it did last time. I explain that this is the best we can offer, and he throws a fit and wants to speak to a manager. Again, managers are not there to apply better discounts. Sometimes we do have something called a documented promise, where if in the notes someone was offered something, say $50 off, and it didn't go through, we can still apply it. He could have lied and said that he accepted it and it never went through, and the documented promise policy would have made it so that we had to give him that discount. In this case, because Fred and I both wrote in the notes that he declined that offer, it was gone for good. I once again transfer him to a manager and stick around to hear the fallout. The manager did not budge, told him the same thing, that $15 off was the only option, and once again, it ends with him hanging up. I unfortunately never figured out what happened with Mark's account, but here's what could have happened. 1. He is still paying the in-market price for his services, which is a lot more than what he was paying before. 2. He accepted the $15 off and is still paying more than before. Or 3. He canceled with us and moved to a competitor. One less problematic, rude, and entitled customer. Moral of the story: be nice to the other person on the phone. If you're nice, an agent will most likely be more willing to go above and beyond for you. If you're a jerk, at least in my case, I'm doing the bare minimum for you and definitely will not bend the rules for you. Again, most agents can't do that anyways, and in this case, I had access to these discounts most likely by mistake, so you should still be nice to the person on the other end of the phone, regardless. Man, what a story. I tell you, that is so true. A lot of times we get on the phone with people and we forget that it's a real live human being on the other end of that call. So whenever you're online, whenever you're on the phone, don't forget you're typing or talking to a real person just like you and me. You want us to be factual in our report about Mindy? Okay, we'll be factual. Posted by Cathjoy. This is actually the second Cathjoy story I've read, and she's a great writer. You'll like this. Let's dive in. Last week, I shared a story about my awful colleague, Mindy. I never expected it to blow up like it did. However, it wasn't the first time Mindy and our manager were hit with the cold can of malicious compliance. So, I thought I'd share the story. I can't take full credit for it. It was a team effort, as you'll see. Upper management decided to trial a new system where colleagues would rate each other. The rules were that all comments had to be constructive. We couldn't write anything spiteful or untrue or based on gossip. So you could write stuff like, Austin is always supportive and offers help when I need it, or Austin communicates clearly, and so on. Basically, they wanted us to think about how our colleagues helped us and what they contributed to the team. They hoped it would help gauge how well the team worked together and encourage them to be positive about each other. These reviews were to be handed to a manager, and only the manager was allowed to read them. As you can imagine, this was tricky when it came to Mindy. For those of you who haven't read my previous story, Mindy fancied herself the queen bee of the office, and she tattled on everyone for petty stuff, like using too many staples or being a few minutes late, and she even kept a tally of how long each of us took going to the bathroom or getting a drink. She was overall a very toxic person. Worst of all, she was our manager's favorite, so she basically got away with everything. I tried to be as diplomatic as possible and wrote that her constant monitoring of our bathroom and drink breaks made me uncomfortable, and that maybe she needed more training because she frequently came to me with complicated queries that were actually pretty standard, or dumping complex cases on me because she said she didn't have time. Again, I wrote them in a way that wasn't accusing, just stating plain facts. Everyone in the team put their reviews in the box on the manager's desk. The manager was supposed to look through them and use it to tackle issues or any areas of discord in the team discreetly. In spite of the fact that these reviews were supposed to be anonymous and only for the eyes of the manager, Mindy somehow found out what was on them, and she was furious. She accused us of ganging up on her and bullying her, and you guessed it, she tattled to the manager. He called an emergency team meeting to address it. He brushed off our concerns about how Mindy had read them at all. These were supposed to be anonymous and private. I need you to rewrite them all, he said. We all looked at each other. One of my colleagues, who I'll call Tom, piped up. We did exactly as you asked. Our reports were truthful and constructive, Tom said. No, you can't write this. You need to write them again. And this time, stick to facts. Our manager snapped, and that was that. Mindy grinned smugly at us as we left. Tom stepped in and suggested we go out together and figure this out. There was no way we were going to lie and say Mindy was a great employee, like our manager obviously wanted us to, but we had to do what he said. Tom had been at the company for decades and always stood by his colleagues. He was a genuinely fantastic guy and we all loved him. He suggested we go out for drinks together to discuss it away from Mindy, so we did. At first, none of us knew what to do. What facts can we give about her that won't get us in trouble? Mindy sits at desk number 666. Mindy has short hair, I said sarcastically. Tom's eyes suddenly lit up. Yes, he said, that's exactly what we'll do. We worked together and came up with a plan. We redid the forms and we all wrote the exact same thing. Mindy has short hair. Mindy sits at desk 666. Mindy works 9 to 5:30. Literally just a laundry list of mundane facts about Mindy, and our forms were identical. We waited until the last moment to post them in the box. Our manager hit the roof, but there was nothing he could do about it. We did what he asked, and there was no time for him to make us do another. So, he just submitted them. The scheme was soon dropped because it created too much work and was replaced instead with a system where colleagues could nominate each other for awards. Guess who never got nominated for any awards? For the record, this took place before the lunch break fiasco, in case you were wondering. Way to go, Cathjoy. If you've not heard the other reading I did of her story, it's a good one. I will link it here. Thank you for watching.